Yo, it's Juggy. Welcome back to a check-in, or rather, this is day 28 of the 6 months challenge. I don't really make these long forms a lot, so if you're watching this and you're part of the channel, thank you. Hi, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm making this long video because I realize I've been having some realizations. Not realizations. I'm just going through my motions of realizations and thought processes and things like that. I thought I might make a longer video because usually I'd be making a short and doing something. But I think today warrants a bit of some talk. So, number one, something I found interesting so far from this whole process of this journey. I am starting to I'm starting to every now and then forget that I should trust myself. Like, I'm just kind of thinking about a lot of things because, before this challenge, not long before this challenge, I was in some of the worst mental ruts of my life. And when I started this challenge has all of a sudden just made everything better. Like, and then today as well, I got a phone call because the person who I was doing therapy with apparently is now being employed and not being contracted. So now I get to do therapy. And then as well, the other day, the Saturday, I was at a Tokyo Machine concert. And that by itself was such an amazing experience because this very regular but talented person, like, I got to meet them. I got to shake hands. And I'll say this only for the sake of, just that because obviously, people who are at that point might not be like their attention can't really be on all the fans that they do have. And so I'll probably naturally get mixed in, but that's also I'm saying this only for the sake of it was amazing, even if it might not have been crazy substantial. Not saying that it wasn't, because it was amazing. And this is only in case Tokyo Machine happens to watch this, I hope you're doing well. I appreciate your time. There's nothing required here. I'm just ranting for a bit. Love your music. Thank you for everything that you do, and I thank you for giving the time to talk to me because I know you probably have a lot of things to not Tokyo. A lot of people to talk to and deal with, and I'm glad that I got a second of your time, even if I don't know, for some reason I have an anxiety that I okay, so little story with this whole thing. So number one, this is the Tokyo Machine is someone that I've listened to for years now. I discovered him first in 2020 when I was watching Josh Dub, and then I started getting really inspired by his videos. And then I made videos on my own channel. But then I started listening to Tokyo Machine autistically much. And I say that as a joke because I would only listen to him on repeat. And this was back when it wasn't that many songs. Like, the only song that was new at the time was the Boys theme song. And so everything else I was just cycling through, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it really opened up the door for me when it comes to music. And then I started following along more, and it's just I have been listening so much for so long, and literally just technically I'm a fan, and I've been low-key stalking him because I saw that his Spotify changed, and I saw different details change, but it's still amazing. And then so I've been listening to him for so long, and it's always been an amazing treat. But yesterday was just it was life-changing because I've been going through so much, and I remember being there at the concert, and this is also a first timer for me because I don't often get to experience these kind of rushes. I naturally stay home, which is why the challenge has also been nice because it's forced myself to expose myself to experiences that will make certain emotions and reactions happen. And this concert opened up a lot of mental doors for me because I start to realize how much less fear I need. I mean, obviously, this means I'm a white man. I have very little to deal with, aka I have almost all the rights, which is a privilege, and I absolutely do not take those. I try my best not to take those for granted, but it was amazing because for me personally, it was amazing to be able to know that like things weren't scary. There's so many people there who were just in the same zone, and it was life changing to see like the inspiration of what socially I could do in the future, because I'm usually home just doing my thing, because honestly a lot of the time I have anxiety around being a burden. And so this whole thing was just kind of letting go of that and letting me be me, because I overthink everything, unfortunately. Unfortunately everything. I think I that it's I'm going to start mumbling and just start saying the same thing. It happens a lot. And I just thought it was just a very nice experience, and I can't thank it enough. And it's also crazy because at the beginning of this year, I literally was planning to commit suicide. Like, I remember being at a family gathering and me just thinking, man, I don't have the type of relationships that I want. I was just like, I was tired. And I say this because I'm proud of where I'm at now, because has happened in the past is important for what is now. Because I was at this point, I literally started telling people around me, just like, I'm not going to make it to 2027. When 2027 happens and if nothing changes by 2027, I'm out. That was a scary thing for me. And what saved me was my cousin and weed. It sounds comedic, but I'm so glad that I took whatever actions they were, regardless of if they were like consistent or whatever they were. I'm so grateful that I chose to do the actions that I did, because then I had a massive realization, and now I'm here. And then I got to experience something that I would dream of doing. Being able to meet Tokyo Machine, even for the slightest that I got, was such an amazing experience. Like, holy shit. And the fact that I did not make any drastic decisions to commit, and I stayed around and I got to experience that. Like, holy shit. And like, it's interesting because this whole story is a very me story. I don't know if anyone else would experience this, because it's very much like I don't go out there that often. I obviously had limited info to the point where there was so much littleness to go around that I didn't really see what the big picture was. And the big picture was only projected from those small little standpoints that I had. And I'm just very grateful at the moment. It's just very nice. I have an alarm on my phone that will play music whenever I need to put on my braces. Or no, sorry, not the rubber bands, my braces. Anyway, I just thought I might want to just talk a little bit more as well. But yeah, it's just like, I just want to just like, I was just thinking about how like, sorry. I went off a little side tangent there, but when I was talking about how I was just at the concert, it, number one, opened up my eyes to social things. Because then when it came to the burden thing that I was talking about, I often don't go for things because I'll think that like me, like, and here's the thing, it's really weird because it's like not a logical thing, because oftentimes I'll go out and I'll be like, oh yeah, would I like being said hi to? Would I like being said good morning? Would I like this? Would I like that? And I use that. I've been practicing to use that more often. But in the past, it's been like, oh, well, they probably wouldn't want it from me. That's the script I've basically built for myself. But after this whole time, I was just like, I started to slowly be like, I've started to practice understanding where something is my problem and where I've done something genuinely wrong versus where it's what's someone else's problem. This also happens to be something with like me trying to make boundaries with people in my life that I've been slowly learning how to do. But it was amazing because I got to meet two of these great guys. I won't say your guys' names, but you guys know who you are. And just because I didn't get your contact info, Kyle, if you are seeing this, love you, man. You're great. The other two, the other two, I don't know if I want to like necessarily say your. I'm only saying that because I there's a lot of Kyles out there, and I don't want to like that there's I'm assuming there's gonna be a lack of impact. But if it does happen and something bad happens, I'm so sorry. I genuinely did not mean that. I'm just trying to make sure that you know that I mean you because it was great to meet you, and for you two guys as well. You already know who you are. It was great to meet you, and I am glad that we are now friends. And I'm glad, and it was amazing to be able to just like, cause when I go to this concert, you know what? This is just a story time at this point because I went to that concert and it changed my life. Not changed my life, but like open up doors because I'm no longer like, oh, like I got to meet someone that I have been technically parasocial with for the past 5 years. And then I got to shake his hand, dap him up, give him a hug. He gave me everything that I wanted, and I'm so grateful. Like he could have just been like, no, sorry, dude, I gotta fucking roll on. But it's like, wow. And then too, like, he took the time. I like maybe, and then again, I say this just for the sake of my own thing, but it makes it sound like I'm trying to like, I might be trying to soften a blow just in case because I worry about authenticity. But like, apparently he recognized me, which was a miracle, which is in my mind a miracle. But we'll like no stress on him or anything like that. I'm just talking about it. But like, it's just funny because I go in there and I immediately see someone who has a Tokyo Machine hat. Immediately strike up a conversation. I'm not gonna lie, it's interesting when I've done all this stuff. I've started to discover about how much there is around adulthood that people don't realize. The thing that struggles when it comes to becoming an adult is it's a strange concept. And maybe I'm saying it and it absolutely is like the most generic thing possible. People are like, yeah, duh. And then maybe it's just me like learning something that's very generic. But to each their own, it's been fascinating because when you're in adulthood, you learn how to structure your own life. And you start to realize that you're no longer in a, like, I was talking about this with some of my family members because it's an interesting experience. I'm the only kid of my family that has fully moved out and who is like living on their own turf, pays their own bills, makes their own money. I often get favors though when it comes to getting groceries, which is very nice. Not money wise, just like getting them and then I pay for it. It's very nice. But structuring your life is something that I think a lot of people just don't realize is the case. Like, people will often be like, oh man, adulthood is hard. It's not hard. It just means that you learn how to trust yourself in a way that you are not used to because you're used to trusting your own parents quite a lot. And you live your life through them. You go on trips that they go on. You go to the work that they go to. They take you to school and they set up the school for you. They do stuff for you. And they give you the structure. But once you leave, then you all of a sudden go, oh, wait a minute. Because at first you're like, oh, man, this sucks. But it doesn't suck. I've never thought it sucks because honestly, I've always liked the thought of living on my own. But it's the fascinating bit is that you start to realize the time you put into different things and how you structure your own life. And then you also start to realize the freedom. Freedom is a scary thing at some points. I think this is another reason, like, and this is the actually no, I won't say this because it's going to become controversial, and I don't want to be controversial here. I'm trying to be inspirational here, but like freedom is empowering, but also scary, because freedom is a case of you have the freedom, but what do you do with it? Recently, I've started to realize that because it's like, you go, oh, like, because you have the habits of like, what am I going to do today? But then you don't really like know what to do. It's been fascinating to grow that experience of like, I'm like, right now I'm 21. I am living on my own. I'm doing this whole challenge. There's nothing fucking for me to else do. Like, it really is interesting when it comes to that simplicity of, this is my life. I'm not going to college yet or at all. And I'm doing my thing. And I have my job. Nothing goes farther than where I push it. And it's been a fascinating experience to see that. But anyway, I might as well just quickly add that it's just like, I am so grateful that I got the opportunity to go to Tokyo Machine's concert, which my dad, I love you so much. I appreciate it so much. I can't thank you enough for that. And I'm so happy that I got to live. And I say this because I was about to kill myself. This would have never existed. And through this challenge, it's been amazing to discover these small ways, but amazing ways of which life has become so rich. It's magical to feel every morning, to the best of my degree, to go, today's an adventure. It's wonderful to do that. And I'm so grateful that I got to go to this concert because I got to meet, that I've already said it before and I say it over and over, but it's just like, oh my gosh, I got to meet an idol, someone that I've looked to for years, someone that is basically my equivalent. Like when I was younger, I used to be really into, and actually I still technically am, they're just old movies and I haven't taken the time to read them because I don't have enough time right now, because I put my time into all these different things. Right now, for example, just before I was recording this, I was working on some YouTube shorts, some subtitles, and I'm like, was starting to realize something, like as I was working. Well, actually, no, this is the whole thought process. I'll just say this. I'm trying to make sure I don't go too off track because there's a lot of different points I have been feeling like I want to talk about that I'm trying to fit into this video. And obviously, there's a lot of ranting to do because, unfortunately, I have only been doing YouTube shorts to, like, promote and do updates and things like that. But then again, made this video because whenever I make a long-form video, I've realized I can use these to, like, make some more general points that don't have a time limit. So then you can hear all my thoughts without a time limit, and it isn't like on a weird like scrolling basis. So you actually chose to be here, which makes the intention nice. But I was just thinking about this. So over the last few weeks, I have been reading hella books, and it's been interesting because now I've been like slowly structuring my time between like doing only books at work, so that work is learning time, but then also during the times where I'm having to talk to people because my job requires me to talk to people, then those times I can just play music, which is also wonderful. But then when I get home, I turn off the books and I put on some music. But I realize, like, all the time, and I'm just like, how can I fit more in? Because then I want to avoid any time where I'm sitting down going, what am I supposed to be doing? Because I automatically have the thought that I'm going to do something wrong or something. Like as if it's like, oh, don't do that. That's the wrong choice of thing to do for today. No, sir, don't do that. Like, I'm trying to slowly learn how to get away from that because that often gets in the way of just like, you'll waste time by realizing you're wasting time and then feel bad that you're wasting time. So you waste more time wasting time. Instead of just doing shit. The main point is, I was just working on some YouTube shorts, and I was realizing, like, there's not much I can do. And also, I was just looking at some data on the newest video. It's not doing too bad. It's got 117 views for within the first 2 days of being published. my community, or so far the community that I have of like a few people, you guys are the fucking best, by the way. If you're seeing this video and you're seeing this, I hope you're doing so well. It's been a magical journey to come back after so long and still have such amazing support from people. It's marvelous. This is stuff I would have dreamed of when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, man, I hope I have one comment. I have so many people, and you guys are the best people ever. I cannot thank for better people to be watching my videos, and I appreciate it so much. And I was just realizing how cool it is that it's like I've structured this whole time, but then it doesn't take long. Like I was literally just thinking about it, just like, man, I'm making some shorts. There's not much I can do with them because I already did so good editing on them in the first place within my video editor, like when I published the video. And then the YouTube shorts are coming out really well, and I'm excited to publish those and then check on that data. And then I also realized, oh yeah, my main video, it fucking, like, I need to wait for the data to come in, so I'm waiting 2 more days so I can have twice the time, because some of the data won't even show up for the video. So I'm actually going to wait a little bit longer so I have more pristine data to go off of for the next video, which is also fantastic. And I start to realize, like, it's just cool to see, like, how unstressful it is, because you start to simplify it. I have started to just be like, whoa, I don't have to do anything more than just edit and make a couple things, because there's only so much I can do. And at that point, like, I'm beginning to practice going, okay, we're working on this, and then once I'm done with it, I leave it alone, because it shouldn't take up more mental headspace. I need to just focus on one thing, which I think is fascinating as well, because it reminds me of a book I read. One of the first books I read on this challenge was Buy Back Your Time. And that one just gave me such good insight around how to deal with energy and tasks they have to do and how to approach everything. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to do that. And it's also wonderful to change stereotype. Like, people will get up in the morning and do their thing, but it's like so uneventful, and they just go to work, go home, and they're just like hoping. But it's fascinating and so unbelievably fun to, like, not view every day as like, oh, time to get to the weekend. Like, I went to the river with some friends, or no, with the family, and I just remember we were asking questions like, hey guys, what's your favorite day of the week? And of course I went for the really guru answer of going, my favorite day of the week is every day, because every day matters. But also, in the best way possible, I absolutely mean every fucking word of that. Because doing this whole challenge and doing all this stuff has genuinely opened up my eyes, my heart, my brain, everything. Which is also interesting, because my dad, he often brings up, so I am a person who has the tism. I am autistic. I cannot take jokes sometimes. I will miss social cues. I can say things that are mean on purpose, because I believe and I think I've shown the action that I'm a pretty fucking decent person, and I have really enthusiastic enthusiasm and all that stuff, and I go for a factual basis as often comes to religion. But it's hard, and that's something I will stop at right there, just because I don't want to make anybody upset, because this is something that people can do regardless of anything. But, like, he says stuff often, and I always think it's kind of like, whatever, dad, whatever. But something that he has mentioned in the past that I think is interesting, and it clicked into my head as of recently. He's always talking about, like, the heart and the head, which I realize as well, that's more or less like spirituality. I'm an atheist, but it opens up my heart in a lot of ways to these things, because why would I, even if I may be an atheist, it's absolutely fine if I'm an atheist, by the way, because then in this whole thing, I can still take in everything else into consideration, but I absolutely realize it's also wonderful that I have the ability to I give myself the permission to know new things, regardless, like, if they are, like, I don't want to limit myself. So the fact that I'm now realizing I'm translating spirituality into something that can be for myself, and understanding my body, and understanding my soul and understanding my heart and understanding my true beliefs and desires. I mean, I'm partially joking, but it's like a genuine thing. I've started to understand what he means by it now. Of like, you start to understand the soul because you can absolutely have a lot. I try my best to be a factual person, and I try my best to be accurate with things. And I started to discover, because I've been reading romance, obviously only 2 books so far, and half of one, which is actually better than the other. And, you know, that's a very small sample of a much larger scale of, literature and other things. But, like, the scale of emotion that you can feel. And then also, like, then again, I've been practicing being able to control my emotions and how I react to things, which obviously is, low in terms because I only go to work, then I go home, I talk to friends, and then I go back to work. And I don't really go places where I have to challenge my true emotional powers because, unfortunately, I don't really go to crazy places. But knowing that emotional landscape has been fascinating because then it just opens up the spirit. It opens up a portion of the brain that I'm starting to understand now, because you can absolutely have logic, but having the emotional bit is such a powerful thing to understand. And I'm starting to slowly understand it, and it's starting to make me understand a lot of different things, but in different ways that are really nice and exciting that I did not expect to be thinking. Now, I'll just say, I think there was a quick thing I was going to mention, which was, it's been interesting because I've been going through some interesting doubts, but not, like, there was a first one of, like, oh, like, today I got upset and I'm worried about this whole thing. That didn't stop me at all. This whole thing is fine. I've realized now, it reminds me of the book Mastermind, about how to think like Sherlock Holmes. In that book, there was a portion of it where it was talking about being able to view every day with the same attention, because oftentimes people will go around life and observe things the same way and never change. Not never change, but they'll view the same thing, and then it'll just get kind of looped into like, oh wait, I already know this, so I don't need to pay attention to it. And you start to like look at things less objectively because time has passed and things are habit now, and you don't really think about it. Every day of the starting of this challenge, I was thinking about everything, and having the limitations on my brain to think only what I need to think at that moment has been nice. But then as of recently, it's been starting to become a habit that I am starting to lack. Like the alarms that go off, different things. Every morning, actually, I've been accidentally getting out of bed late, which then has made it late for me to be able to get breakfast and this and that. Like, my brain's just like, oh my god, I'm so tired. I need to stay, like, and weirdly, I've lost the grind of being like, oh, let's get up, let's get ourselves running, let's get our stuff going, because it's life. And I'm slowly trying to figure out how to get myself back to doing that because it's fun that way. But I guess it's just like, it becomes like the same thing, which is making me question about how to make things new and exciting so that I can feel like things, or I flip the thing where I go, like, I just basically scare myself in the most, like, those Chad ways where you're like watching some Chad guru going like, oh yeah, like, I just scare myself into doing shit and then I just do it. Kind of like that, but except in the way of like, oh, do I want to be a person who does not take every day? Because then again, as I was saying before, I was about to say taking days for granted, but then again, I've started to, since I've ruminated so much and I made a couple videos around mental health and things like that and how I'm like actually improving and stuff, it's funny because I've just started to understand life in a different way than most, I guess. And it's cool because now I do just take every day not for granted. I could die tomorrow. Am I happy with what I've done today? Yes. And that's such a magical thought to have. if you can have, and it's also a case of like, because then it's also, you'd be thinking, oh, I didn't really do much crazy stuff. I've started to understanding of basics, but then also this is where you start to learn how to love yourself, where you start to go, okay, how can I be proud of myself every single day and be happy? First of all, being happy is something that you have a choice on. I have been choosing to be happy. It's not perfect. And another thing that I've also given myself slack on is you don't have to be, you can be happy and not necessarily show it. But you can be confident that you are happy, which is also nice because I'll be like walking home and I'll just smile because why not? And then sometimes I just won't because I'm just like, I'm content. I don't care. I'll be walking down the street, and if I die, then guess what? I died while in style. I was doing what I loved, which was walking away from work. Not away, but like walking to home, because I don't mind my work. My work is fine, but then I also just get to go home. And walking is such a good experience because then it forces me to interact with people. That's actually a lie. It forces people to look at me on the street because I dress nice, and people look at me, so it gives me a little bit of an ego boost. But that's besides the point. That's just fun for me. I dress like this regardless of how people look. So it's just a bonus because I've adopted it to my personality because I believe it's part of it. But obviously things might change. But if that does happen, then great. It adds to more of the adventure of life that I am slowly learning how to live. And it is so fun. The main point is I've slowly started to, like, weirdly enough, see every day as the same, because for the beginning of the challenge I was like, oh no, every day needs to matter, and it absolutely does. And I guess that's the reason why I'm also making this video slightly, is because I'm trying to reconcile, because I'm realizing, oh yeah, you're starting to slack off because you have a system now. It's comfortable, things are comfy, you're getting comfortable, so now your brain is starting to like take things in instead of like, oh, this needs to happen. I think that's a habit I'm going to start doing for every morning because, like, I have been getting decent sleep. It's like not, that's like not a crazy issue, but it's like, but yeah, like I've noticed that I am starting to ignore my phone alarms sometimes. Specifically, a one that I got inspired by Dan Martell to do, which is you set an alarm for 3 times a day to remind yourself of what your goals are, which focuses your brain and keeps it going in the right direction, which I actually really like. But unfortunately, it happens so much that I get distracted by people and different things because I'm talking with them, trying to get to know them and things like that. And it's just funny because then I'll just like actively swipe it. But I used to take a second every time and go, oh, wow. Good job, me. Thanks for notifying. I shall keep my head on task. But no, I've started to just swipe and then go on with my day, which is starting to get annoying for myself because now I'm just starting to like, low-key brush myself off in a way. And it's becoming a thing that I'll need to adjust because there's nothing else I need to think about. The only thing I need to think about is making sure that my time with anybody that I'm hanging out with is a very nice experience, and that I myself am giving myself a nice experience by myself, and I'm growing, and that the tasks that I'm getting done, I put full focus on it and make sure it gets done properly in that time frame. I leave it alone and I just do other things. You already, if you follow along, you already know where my logic is. I'm just explaining it for the sake of explaining it. But anyway, it's about 33 minutes into this video, and it's almost 34 minutes, probably 13 seconds until. But I thought I might make a little bit of a rant because I have been like lacking on following my alarm, or not my alarms, but yeah. Actually, no, the alarms are actually quite nice. It's just that sometimes, especially in the mornings, I forget that, like, because I have an alarm 3 times a day that remind me to put on my braces or my rubber bands for my braces. And it's just funny because in the mornings, like, I'll snooze in for a second, but then an alarm will go off. And I'm like, fuck, because so I wake up at 6 a.m. exactly. Then at 6:10, I have an alarm that says, oh yeah, make sure you put on your rubber bands, because usually by the time I wake up and I like open up my mouth and I'm like yawning and I'm going to the bathroom and things like that, my rubber bands will break. So then I have an alarm to set to, redo that. But then I'll like sleeping. I'm like, 5 more minutes, and then the alarm will go off. I'm like, shit. No, that's unfortunate. And then I have to like slowly remind myself to do whatever. But anyway, that was something I was gonna talk about, was just the Tokyo Machine concert was my thoughts so far in the challenge. It's 28, so it's almost a month in, and we have 5 more months to go, and then 3, which is like my emotional thing, I guess. 4 is just like keeping on task, and 5 is just keeping myself focused. It has its challenges, but I'm trying, and that's all that matters, and it's fascinating to try. And I would say as well, throughout this challenge, I've also come across, the difficulty of, oh, like, what if this is not even worth it? You shouldn't even go for it. But then I also go, no, you've been in the worst, and you have experienced the worst for yourself. I don't have bad things happen to me. It's what I did to myself. So, I mean, obviously that has its limitations, but you don't know what I went through. But I would say I'm validly, I had some valid troubles. But the main point is that I'm trying to say here, the thought of doing nothing and doing the same thing I was doing before scares me to the point where I just am like, oh no, I am not stopping. If I stop, then I'm going fucking nowhere. If I stop, then I mean nowhere. As in, I will not go anywhere, regardless of it's bad or good. Because if it's bad, first of all, bad is subjective as fuck. So I could technically go homeless, but I could be a happy homeless man because that's an experience. And then you go, oh yeah, is there ways around that? Yes. If any of you think that there's not a way around homelessness, or like if you become homeless, there's absolutely a way. Have you ever heard of any story ever? There's probably billions of stories of someone being homeless and then flourishing at some point. So I'm not scared. So I'm slowly not getting scared of anything, because no matter what, if I keep on going, a lot of these things that I'm doing go towards a main goal. And if I keep on going, no matter what, I'm going to end up somewhere. The only thing that will change is my actions. And my actions I can change at any time, and that could make me go in all sorts of different directions. And those directions can take me to amazing places, amazing things and experiences and people and foods and stuff, like consumables, everything. And so the thought of me stopping just because, scares me, which is a good thing. So I'm not doubtful. I just realized that a lot of my focus can be a little bit shot sometimes, of just like, I will sometimes not be able to comprehend part of some books, or I will miss the timing when it comes to making videos or doing projects, or I'll miss the timing on some different thing, instead of just choosing to trust myself, which I'm still also learning how to do. I am slowly learning how to because like I trust myself, but verbally, not by action. I verbally trust myself, being like, okay, this is the right fact because I agree with it, but it hasn't yet to act out. And the acting out bit that I've yet to do is consistently, without fail. Well, actually, no. I say that, but then again, failure is not a bad thing. That just helps me adjust. So I don't know why I'm saying that. It's a good thing that I'm calling this out, though, because then that means that it is something else to improve. But anyway, I just thought I might say that a little bit of just, I am too scared to stop because there's no reason to stop. I'm so happy, so being fulfilled. I'm excited to see where things go. I'm excited to see where life takes me, because I realize whatever I thought life was, not that it isn't that, but it's not that. I say that because it's my own interpretation that I don't really want to say right now, because I don't know what it is. But I have a general idea. Technically, the idea is a shape and like a color and like different things that my brain comprehends, but I can't just say it right now because I'm translating life in my own way. Anyway, I just thought I might make a quick little, not quick, this is a 40-minute video, but I thought I might rant because I just have been having a lot of things I wanted to express, because I've had slight doubts. I also had amazing experiences. I've been going through so many great changes, and it's been marvelous. And it's just like, I can't help but be grateful because I have everything that I want. Except two things, but those things are fine. Well, actually, no. Sorry. I don't have. I'm doing. That's the other thing. It's like I have what I want and I'm doing what I want. The only thing that's like in the way is something that I don't really mind, which is my job. And my job helps, but it also gives me good energy. And there are certain things I don't have, maybe, but I'm still doing what I like to do. And I'm still improving on ways that I like to improve. There's absolutely things that I want, but will I live without them? Yes. Will I find something to do those two things? Absolutely, most likely. Right now? No. Do I not? Is it okay that I don't have those things right now? Absolutely. It is the time where I need to do that so that I can know exactly what I need because I need to figure this stuff out more. This is just the beginning. I'm starting to realize that this is just the beginning of me as a person, which is an amazing thing. And it also becomes such an inspirer in that way of like, I'm getting to know myself, and that's a very magical experience for the sake of like, you ever realize how you are going to be living with yourself your entire life? You might as well enjoy the time with yourself for your entire life. You're not going to experience being anybody. And this will be something that maybe you see here and now, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. And that's specifically for any teenagers, basically. But like, you'll, at some point, you might experience a sense of just like, whoa, I see what you mean now. Maybe you don't even say that. Maybe you're just like, oh, I get it now. Because I'm not a person who's like telling you what to do. I'm just putting out the info. But it's like, you start to realize like, you start to treat yourself with a little bit more respect. And I've also started to this is another thing that I was thinking about the other day as well. The thought of self-worth. I remember watching a YouTube short, and amazingly, YouTube shorts have weirdly become a thing that I actually kind of, enjoy because it gives you some decent anecdotes to consider. But there's a YouTube short about this guy. There's like a professor. He takes a $1 bill. He goes, "So you guys want this? You guys want this money?" And they're like, "Yeah, I want this money." And then he like crumples it up. And he goes, "You still want it?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'll take the money." Then he puts it on the ground, stomps on it, makes it real rugged. He picks it up. "Do you guys still want this money?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Ah, interesting. So you'll take this money, even though it's been through it, even though it's been beaten, been put through some shit, you still want it because it has value." And he goes, "That is in you guys as well." And the way I interpreted this was very nice for the sake of everyone has value. It's more of a case of you have value that's under the rough that you have yet to fully understand. Because the people you're around, the things that you do will dictate how well you flourish. And every single person has the ability to do this. If I can, then so can you. Sure, I might be a person who's like low-key gone insane, becomes super happy all the time, all of a sudden is having these massive goals. But I also feel like I do have conscience to myself because I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not going through like a manic episode. I haven't spent money on a ton of shit. I've just been doing things and becoming very focused. And it's like, I see my own value. I see my own ability because I understand my body, I understand myself, my emotions, my brain, how I work. And it's amazing to take full advantage of yourself. People often want to do things to be able to compensate for things. I am trying to move my best to move away from compensating because at this point, it's like, what am I compensating for? If I can prove to myself that I can do things, then who the fuck cares? Because here's the thing. If you ever have a person who has the need to go and shit on someone, they have some issues themselves. Any person who is at peace and has understood themselves and wants to give kindness and understands these things for themselves will hold back and only put out what's necessary because they don't feel the need to be validated by others. They just validate themselves and go, no, yeah, I believe this is right, but I also don't agree with what you're doing, but I also don't need to correct you because you're you. That you're not me, you're you. The only thing that becomes an issue is if like somebody's like, hey, I have this boundary, and then that becomes the whole thing. But that's also fine. But it's interesting just for that fact of just like, you can do anything. You can just say that you're someone, and then you can do stuff. You start to like, you need a, if anybody needs some inspiration, actually, I don't know what to give for inspiration because I don't really know because it's all very much subjective. The only thing I can say is trust your gut. The only two rules I live by: treat people how I want to be treated. Don't kill anybody. Don't, RAPE anybody. Fucking, that's pretty much it. Just like don't commit shit because honestly, if you're committing something like that, then you kind of got something to like consider because it's like, but it's like, I'm trusting my gut. I'm slowly learning how to push certain people away or just like retract myself. Not push, because I'm controlling my energy. I'm controlling where I put things. And it's been an amazing experience. And it's also just such a energy giver to be able to have people in your life. Like it's a learning experience for sure. I'm glad I've learned it at the time that I have. But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of going off on a little side tangent. I'll just say learning yourself is a very fun experience. It makes you know what you're capable of. And you should only allow people in your life who will make you genuinely feel like that is a possibility. If anybody ever, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to slowly build my life to be full of A players, people who are willing to see what is fully possible in the future and not be limited by what they think is the only truth. Obviously, I limit myself, but that's after giving me guardrails. I give myself guardrails so that I can function and that I can have some way to go. But the only thing that changes, or like, no, I have directions to go because I put myself with guardrails. But if those things lead somewhere, I need to be open to experience those things. Anyway, I just like would. That's basically the whole thing. I need to start pausing here, but I thought I might quickly make this video because I had some things to say, and this is probably the actual last intro. But last thing I'll say is just learn how to love yourself. Don't let people and society limit you, and yeah, that's all my things because I can't really give much advice. The only thing I can say is those two things because you probably have a lot of other advice that you could probably learn yourself or teach yourself or adopt on your own turf, and I don't need to put that on you. But I will say my experience so you can make your own inference because I don't need to tell you how to do things. I was not told how to do any of the things that I am doing. I am doing these things because it makes me happy, and it's been putting so much fulfillment in my life, and I'm grateful to have it. Anyway, just to recap, I'm grateful to have gone to Tokyo Machine's concert. I'm very glad for the emotional development I've been going through as of recently. I'm very glad for what I have been up to and generally been feeling. I'm very glad for all the realizations, and I am glad to be where I'm at, and I'm looking forward to accomplishing much more. Anyway, I appreciate all you guys watching, and I hope that some of these words were, on topic to a degree, and that all of you were able to take something from it. I hope I shared some useful info, and I'll talk to you guys in another video. I'll see you in YouTube Shorts. Have a lovely